sorry if I seem a little nervous today. It's been a while since I've taken so long off streaming, and the nightmare I had last night did not help. I had to triple check all my stream settings 10 times. I was traumatized from that dream, because in my dream I was streaming for 5 hours. It was the longest stream, well, perhaps not the longest stream I've ever had, but it was a very long stream, and in the end everyone was like, "Wait, what? ID never came. ID was never here," and I was like, "What?" And as it turns out, I was on my loading screen for 5 hours, and I woke up in a cold sweat. Mo, arigato. Thank you, Anima. Let's welcome back your cute and amazingly sweet V-Dere Queen. Her name never forgotten since it's inscribed in our hearts. Irene Viridevils. No, that's not my name. Arigato ne. Thank you, Setsan. Oh, maybe she isn't back. I'm right here. Also, thank you, Friendly Elephant. Welcome back, Adi. Hope everything is okay for you now. Yeah, one moment. I'll give all the updates. Streaming for 5 hours. Some streamers would call that a short stream. No. I feel a little, I don't know, how do you call it? I feel a little... Arigato? Arigato. Thank you, Mark. Viridevils, haha. Got him. What? What? Viridevils what? Viridevils nuts have a nut allergy. Oh no. Anone. It's not lethargic, it's just, I don't know. I feel like the days have been going by in a blur, but at the same time, they're not going by at all. I can't believe it's already been a week since it happened. I know. Welcome on, Kai. Hello. Yeah, also welcome, Triage. I saw that YouTube rolled out the thing with the usernames. That's atrocious. Why would they do that? Demo, I don't know, the last few days have just been wake up after not sleeping much the entire night, call my grandma, freak out if my grandma doesn't immediately pick up, text my grandma, call my grandma again, she finally picks up, then pick up whatever I need to bring to my grandma in the hospital that day, and then go to the hospital, and then go home, and then eat, and then just kind of stare at the wall and call my grandma again. Ne, it's very sad that everyone lost their Oshi mark and their special gem names. I'm going to cry. I'm going to text Neil from YouTube.com and personally cry at him. But yeah, it's it was rough. I'm able to sleep better now, but sometimes I still wake up in a panic. Like the slightest sound will wake me up, and yeah, I just wake up like, oh, is it time to call my grandma yet? Is it time to call my grandma yet? No, okay, it's not time yet. It's 5 AM. Okay, yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's been a surprisingly busy week. Towards the end of the week, I got back into doing some like back-end stuff that I had piling up, but I've got so much to do. Good news is I finally took care of my bank issue. Yay! Well, for those of you who are not in my membership, who must be very confused because you probably didn't see much, except for the initial thing I posted, the PNG. Basically, let me say it with words, and let me use my words, my big words. Um, okay. So, to retell the story of 1 week, on Monday, I had gone to sleep really late on Sunday. It wasn't even Sunday anymore when I went to sleep. I think I crawled into bed at like 6 a.m. on Monday. Just cause like, I don't know, I was busy doing something and I didn't want to stop. And so I'd gone to sleep at 6 a.m. on Monday, fully intending to sleep until like 5 p.m. that day. Demo at about 8 a.m. So only like an hour or two after I fell asleep, my grandma opened the door and she started like looking for something inside, and I don't know, she seemed kind of hurried, so I just woke up and I was like, what doing? What doing? Where are you going? She's like, no, go back to sleep. But her voice was a little weird, so I opened my eyes a little bit further and I was like, no, like where are you going? And she was like, well, no, it's okay, go back to sleep. And then I realized that she really was talking weird. So like I kind of sat up and she mentioned something about going to the doctor and like touched her mouth. And even though I wasn't wearing my glasses at the time or contacts, I saw that her face was slumping a little bit, and like I went from being like, what happened, to like completely awake in like a single moment. And like I scrambled for my glasses, I scrambled for my clothes because I sleep without clothes. And I looked at her and I was like, oh no. And I immediately called my mama and I was like, grandma face slumping, stroke, call ambulance. And my mama was like, yes. And I immediately called the ambulance. And I felt really bad for the person on the other line, cause I could not string together a coherent sentence for the life of me. They were like, hello, this is 911. Well, in Germany it's 112, but like, do you need like, firefighters? Do you need the ambulance? I was like, ambulance, and then I immediately started like listing down everything, all the symptoms, and they were like, wait, how many people? How old are they? And I couldn't think of my grandma's age for the life of me, so I was like, 57. No, wait, 75. My grandma's not 75, she is 78. Yeah, and I was freaking out. And all the while I was like hyperventilating into my phone, with the poor operator on the other side. My grandma was going, no, don't call them, no. I'm just gonna walk to the doctor. And I was like, no, you're not, you're going to the hospital, sit down. Yeah. I was like alternating between like trying to not hyperventilate, trying to answer the operator, and trying to stop my grandma from like taking the phone from me. ありがとう. Thank you, Scapulite Proclaimer. We shall fight this oppression. Our very clean selected those names with both her wisdom and dedication for her people. Thus I won't stand down. I'll donate everything I have as a strike for YouTube for stripping our Virigems names. At Virigems Justice for the Devil. I don't know why they did that. No one asked for it. Who was like, oh, I would like to see very long usernames with many numbers in them. Yup, I'd love to see that right now. In my YouTube chat. でも、and then I did some stuff which I don't even remember most of it. But like I threw open the front door. Because I was like, okay, the paramedics will need to get inside. So let's throw open the door so they can get inside and they know which house it is. And then like I set my grandma down. I kept talking on the phone. I was already searching for like a go bag for her. And then my mama came into the house because you know I left the door open. And she started screaming at me. She was like, "Tell them she has a stroke. Tell them she has a stroke." And I was like, "Yes, I mean, but like, okay." And because, you know, at the time the operator was asking me like, "Oh, ask your grandma, is she feeling any pain somewhere?" And I was trying to ask her and I was like, "Grandma, does it hurt anywhere?" And my mama was like, "No, tell them she has a stroke." And I was like, "I already did." And then the operator was like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "Sorry, sorry. My mama is screaming at me." Yeah, and he was like, calm down, tell her the ambulance is already on the way. We're not losing any time by asking these questions. Yeah, but I was going through it. I know, and then, my mama was with my grandma sitting there, so I went outside to, like, wave to the ambulance, when they drove past, so that they'd easily see where we are. And I brought them inside, and it was 3 gentlemen ambulance drivers. Ito, I know, and they went inside, and they started, like, you know, asking my grandma questions, and they were like, "Oh, we need her health insurance card." Now, that's not because they're like, "Oh, we can't take her unless she pays," but, like, on your health insurance card, there's all your, like, medical data. So for, like, any, medication you're taking, there's any kind of important allergies you have, so that they don't accidentally kill you while they take you to the hospital. And I was like, "Okay, grandma, where is it? Where is it?" And my grandma, well, she couldn't speak. She couldn't speak too well, cause you know, half of her face was effectively paralyzed, cause you know it's a stroke. But so she tried to talk, and I was like, "What? Huh? Where?" So I just ran around the entire house, looking for that stupid card. Yeah, And then I was like, "Okay, wait, I'll be the one who has to go to the hospital with her, cause, I can't drive. So if I don't go with her, I'll just be stuck here. And also, like, you know, yeah, my mama doesn't speak German too well. So I'll be the one who has to go." So I threw my phone and a charger in a bag, because my phone was on like 9%, because I hadn't charged it overnight. And then they brought her outside to the ambulance. And you know, they were like, "Okay, we'll get you in a while. Just like wait out here." And so I sat on the curb, crying, because I couldn't see my grandma anymore, and I was freaking out. Generally, I always start freaking out when I couldn't see her anymore, because I was like, "Oh my god, oh my god, what if her condition is like massively deteriorating right now? Am I hearing beeping? I'm hearing beeping. Am I hearing beeping?" Yeah, I was going through it. But then they opened the passenger door of the Weevil wagon to me, and I got in the Weevil wagon. And there was a stuffed animal giraffe in the Weevil wagon in the front. And then we drove. And they gave us the option between 2 hospitals that were about equally close by. And both my mama and I were immediately like, that one, not the other one. Cause the other one was the one where my father died. So we had bad memories with that one. So we drove. You know, it was very intense. Driving in an ambulance while it's going full speed with the siren on. It was kind of scary to see the ambulance like flooring it over a bunch of red lights. Honestly, the drivers we came across were very skilled, because they all immediately pulled to the side like no questions asked, and we were able to get through very smoothly. I think I would have panicked if I suddenly heard an ambulance behind me. Yeah, but then we got into the hospital, into the like emergency department. Um and like they took care of my grandma like it was some paramedics talking to the doctor. But one of the paramedics sent me to like take her card, her health insurance card, and get it checked in at the hospital front desk. Um and I got in line at the front desk. They were like, "Yeah, just hurry with it." And I was like, "Okay, okay, okay." Um, but there was a woman in front of me in the line who looked annoyed, and I was like, "Oh no, how long has she been working there?" Because there was like no one behind the desk, and I was like already freaking out. Ito. And then eventually, after 5 minutes, an old man comes and he sits down at the desk, but rather than, well, first he takes the woman's card and like he gets her checked in at a very slow speed. And then I'm like, okay, my turn, my turn. But no, he turns away to chat with a coworker about something. And he's like, what? Oh, that doesn't work. I'm not what? Oh, yes, we could order some more of that. I think we can let me check on my computer. And then he types in the letters, like one letter per 10 seconds. And I'm like, okay, calm down. Okay, calm down. Because I was so stressed and tired that I was about to jump over that table and either choke him or type in the letters for him. Either it was a 50-50, it was a toss up. So I had to very much hold myself back from doing that. And then even the paramedic came over, like, to check what took me so long, and then the paramedic stood next to me and we both waited. Yeah, and then he finally looked up and he was like, okay. And then he took my thing and he typed it in and I was like, can you type any slower? Can you type any slower? Yeah, I did that once. Wait, which part? The choking someone out or the typing in the letters for them? Then I had to wait in the waiting room. And in the waiting room, I tried calling my mama and like my uncle, cause obviously I had to keep them up to date with the situation. My mama was at home like packing my grandma's things for the hospital stay. And my uncle was like canceling his work plans for the day. I was freaking out. At that point, since I wasn't like, I didn't have to do things anymore, when you have like a lot of adrenaline in your system and you're like, okay, first I do this and then I have to do this and then I have this task. But when you run out of tasks to do, everything just kind of crumbles down on you and the adrenaline goes out of your system. So I was just sitting there in the waiting room, probably looking like a child. And then I just started sobbing. I just started sobbing. And I still held my grandma's bag in my hands, and I was like, oh god, I hope she packed a temple. I hope she packed tissues, and she did. And I was like, yes, yes, grandma got the tissues in her bag. So I had to wipe my tears. You did both. Jumping the desk, choking someone out of their desk, and threatening them if they don't type faster. Oh my. Well, that is indeed a man of action. I could not do it. I could not bring myself to do it. Yeah, but I was just crying. And then the nurse came and she was like, "Oh, are you the relative of the grandma?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's me." And she was like, "Okay, stop crying. Stop crying. Your grandma needs to be calm right now, okay? If I let you in her room and her heart rate goes up, you're getting kicked right back out." And I was like, "Oh, okay." I'll stop crying. And I wipe my tears. Eto. And I went inside and I acted very happy and I did not cry. Yeah. But it's okay, I mean I understood. Cause like in the ambulance, my grandma's heart rate was really, really high because you know, it was a lot of stress, but I just managed to like speak to her normally and be like, yeah, look, I mean, you know, right now it's pretty good for you, right? Right, it's annoying that this happened on a Monday, right? It's okay. It's alright. You know, my mom is gonna bring you your things and they'll just get you checked out and you'll be fine. Yo, but on the inside I was very distressed. Uh yeah, yo. I felt quite shaken up. I know. I know, I know. Yeah, and then the nurse came in again and asked a couple of questions and I tried to help answer them because my grandma was a little bit disoriented and obviously she still couldn't talk too well. Yeah, and then we had to sit there for about an hour or two. Yeah, and then I was sent outside again. And they were just, you know, running the regular tests again on her, like EKG, blood test, you know, things like that. Well, I guess in English it's ECG? ECG? Yeah. Yeah, and then I had to wait in the hallway again and I was just like, wait, where should I wait? There's one single chair and I walked up to a nurse and I was like, hello nurse, can I sit in that chair? And she was like, what? And I was like, I'm supposed to wait here. And she was like, yeah, sit in the chair. And so I sat in the chair and I pulled on my phone and my phone was at 3% and there was nowhere to charge my phone. And I was like, And at that point it was already like almost 11. So this had been going on for 3 hours and I'd only gotten like 2 hours of sleep. But then they brought my grandma to like a monitoring unit for stroke patients. Yeah. And I sat next to her while she was in the bed. And I helped her like change her clothes and stuff. Yeah, and then I took her phone to call my uncle and to call my mama to say that like they were allowed to come now because you know before she was in the emergency unit, so there's no visitors. But now visitors were allowed. Yeah, and I had to lie to my grandma because my grandma was like, but don't tell your uncle. Do not tell your uncle. And I was like, yeah, grandma, I'd never tell him, no. Because I mean, you know, the nurse had said to keep her heart rate down. So I was like, no. I'm just calling my mom. Don't worry about it. Because she was like trying to hide it from my uncle. But like, how was she gonna hide that? She was in the hospital. Uncle is grandma's son, yeah. He is almost 60. Yeah, so he's quite old. Then eventually my uncle came to the hospital and you know spoke to my grandma and spoke to the doctors and like I was quite glad for it because I was worried to be there alone with her because, you know, if they'd asked me to, like, make any decisions or anything, or, like, if they'd explain treatment to me, like, I wouldn't have known what follow-up questions to ask and stuff like that. Wait, 60? At what age did Grandma have him? She had him at, like, 18. Yeah. She had him at, like, 18 or 19. Cause when she was 20, she already had 2 children. 네. Oh, he's almost 60, so yeah, she had on 19. 네. I mean, it's a different time back then. It's a different time back then. ito. Yeah, but after a while, the nurse came to do like another test with my grandma. I think it was even another EKG. And both my uncle and me had to step outside. And like he hugged me and he was like, "Thank you, really. Like you did perfectly. You did everything right. Thank you so much." And I felt a little bit caught off guard because my uncle and my uncle's family and I, we don't really have a very close relationship. So I was like, oh. Yeah. But then after a while, my mama came and she dropped off the stuff for my grandma. And she took me home while my uncle stayed. Yeah. And that was the conclusion of the first day. And when I got home, I couldn't sleep at all. I couldn't sleep a wink. Yeah, still too much adrenaline. I was still too worried. I'm not 22, I'm 21. I'm 21. Don't get my age wrong. Don't make me older than I am. Come on. I'm gonna get old soon enough. I don't wanna be I don't wanna be old yet. Isn't Uncle Ari grandma's first son? Yes. Uncle was her first son, my father was her second son. 네. Hi. Nemo. And that was the conclusion of the first day. Looks at 30 minutes of time gone by when it feels like 5 minutes. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, the first day was the most eventful by far. So that one was probably the one that took the longest time. That will have taken the longest time to talk about. Also during day 1, afterwards, after coming back from the hospital, my mama drove me to McDonald's because she was like, "I'm not cooking today." And I was like, "Alright." And so I picked up food for myself and my cousin. Yeah, and I was just sitting at home crying into my McDonald's. I was crying into my burger and my fries, and my cousin was just looking at me. And we were both just quiet while I was crying into my McDonald's. Yeah. Yeah, cousin is still here. She felt very awkward during that entire thing. Cause like, you know, obviously the past few days, she's had to stay at home while we go to the hospital. Cause my grandma's only allowed 2 visitors at a time. So cousin had to stay home. 네. Did she at least hug you? No. She just stared while we ate the food. 네. Yeah, that was the first day. Yeah, and then I slept like not even sure how long I slept. Maybe an hour on the first day. Maybe. And then the next day I was like up bright and early to go to the hospital again. And I was like, "Mama, it's time. Mama, it's time to go." And I got very frustrated at her when she was like taking the time to do her hair and makeup, and I was like, "We're going to a hospital. We're going to a hospital. You're not gonna find a boyfriend at a hospital, Mama." Yeah. Yeah, so I was a little bit, maybe because of the lack of sleep, but I was rather prickly. Arigato ne. Thank you so much, Sex Anthony. Arigato. Well, at least we can send virtual hugs for Airi. She very likely needs a warm hug. Arigato ne. I'm doing better now, but I heard that sometimes you can lose hair like months later if you were too stressed. So I'm kind of worried. What if in a few months from now I'll go bald? And then we went to the hospital. And my grandma was doing better than the day before. They had like a person to do speech exercises with her. And we were glad to see we were glad to see that because I called the ambulance so quickly, they said that only a facial muscle was impacted by the stroke. Arigato. Externally, it's only a facial muscle. So was that, muscle on the side of her face, her mouth that was impacted. And otherwise, like, it was even really hard to like spot that she had a stroke, other than when she talked, because then you'd see that she couldn't move her mouth correctly, but it was very hard to see. Yeah, and I mean, otherwise she moved completely fine. Yeah, and like completely coherent, and she kept like swearing. She kept like going, ah shit, ah shit. And I was like, grandma. Arigato. Thank you, Sitsan. Yeah, the boyfriend's right here. No. 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 I will not allow my mama to date. Ne. I know. Yeah, so the second day was fine. They said that they didn't know, like, they had no conclusive scans yet. So they'd have to do all of that later in the day, and then see the results tomorrow for like how her brain and stuff was impacted. But the good news was that even though her mouth was like one of the only things impacted by the stroke, she was able to talk and, eat without problem. So, they gave her hospital food. Honestly, the hospital food there is pretty good. I can tell from experience, but that's a part for later in the story. Yeah, and yeah, so I went home again that day. I finally slept relatively well for once. Not much, but relatively well. However, the next day at like 8 a.m., I was woken up by a call from my uncle, and I was like, oh no, oh no. Why is my uncle calling me at 8 a.m? Oh no. Oh no. Cause like usually he texted me, right? And I texted him. So him calling me at 8 a.m, I was a little bit worried. Arigato. Thank you, Anima. Setsan. Alright, since Ted asked for it, I'm in. No. In doko, you're not in anywhere. But so I picked up the phone and I was very worried. And I was on Wednesday. And I was like, yeah, what? I had like the really like, the sleepy voice where I was like, yeah, what? What? Hello? And my uncle was like, hi, Adi, it's me. I spoke with the doctors, and I was like, yes, what's wrong? I immediately forced myself to wake up. And he was like, well, so they found the place where she had like, a stroke is caused often by like a blood clot in the brain. Like a bleeding in the brain caused blood clot. That's why they give blood thinners to treat stroke in a hospital. And they'd apparently found where the blood clot was from the swelling of the vein. But the blood clot was already dissolved, so that was good. But they had to keep her there for another day because strokes oftentimes become dangerous for up to 72 hours later. So they had to keep her in the monitoring unit and, like, you know, do EKG, take her blood pressure every few hours. And then he was like, yeah, but they said while scanning the brain, they found a mass in her brain. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah, so they don't know whether the mass is, like, benign or whether it's, I don't know what the opposite of benign is. Aggressive, I suppose. Yeah, and they're going to scan her today for, like, cancer spread in her body for, how do you call it when it's, when cancer, like, has, like, offshoots? You know, when they, like, when the cancer does the, metastasize. Yeah, they're gonna scan her body for, like, any sign of, metastasization, metastase, that. And I was like, oh. He was like, yeah, well, they don't know if there's anything yet, but let's just hope that it's benign, and, like, even if it's not, at least we caught it that way, rather than it going untreated for longer. And I was like, yeah, I suppose you're right, but having anything in the brain is kind of not good. Yeah, and that day I went to visit my grandma again later in the day, and she was noticeably pretty sad. She was like, yeah, they found something, like, on my head. And I was like, well, Grandma, it's not on your head. They said in your head. And she was like, oh, yeah, that. And I was rather upset, seeing her upset, and I was also upset. Yeah. So, yeah, I went home that day, and I kept waiting for, like, another call. I kept, like, you know, startling awake, when I tried to sleep that night. And the next morning I woke up super early and I kept waiting for a call from either my grandma or from my uncle. But after a while, I just called my grandma, and she was like, "Oh, hello. Yeah, they give me 2 good news today. First good news, I'm being discharged to a normal room. Yeah, they're bringing me to a normal room. Second good news, yeah, so the thing they saw in my brain, yeah, they were just mistaken. I'm fine." And I was like, "What? Repeat that, repeat that." And as it turns out, she doesn't have a mass in her brain after all. Which, like, you think that they would scan twice, right? You think that they would scan twice before giving such a kind of news to the patient and the family. But I digress. I am not upset with this turn of events. So as it turns out, she has no mass in her brain after all. From what they said, I believe it was just a bleeding, like, you know, remnants of the bleeding from the stroke. Yeah. So I was very relieved I finally felt for the first time like I could breathe in those couple of days. Yeah. And on Friday, the doctor forgot to visit her, which I got very mad at. Like, we were waiting for the doctor to come by, cause like obviously we still had questions about like why did you see something on the scan and the next day it's gone? Like, huh? And so we had a couple of questions we wanted to ask the doctor. And I was there until the afternoon, and then I asked the nurse, like, hi, so, like, when is the doctor coming today? And she was like, he was already there. And I was like, no, he was not. And the nurse was like, oh, but he did the rounds today in the morning. And I was like, he did not come to my grandma. And she was like, oh, let me call him. And I was like, yeah, you better call him. And then I sat in the room with my grandma, and I think it was that day where I told her that I hadn't had breakfast yet. And so when her lunch tray came, yeah, it was that day. She kept like jabbing the spoon at me, being like, eat. This is too much for me. Eat. And I was like, no, you only get this much food. You don't even get anything this evening, cause you have to do they're doing a procedure tomorrow, so you don't get to eat anything in the evening. She was like, no, but you need to eat. And I was like, yeah, I can eat when I'm home. Yeah. And I was like, no, Grandma, I'm not gonna eat your food away. And she was like, no, but I want you to. And she wouldn't eat anything until I had finished, like, almost half of her meal. Yeah, so... It was, she just kept jabbing the spoon at me, and she kept not eating until I ate. But yeah, and then on the weekend, not much happened because on the weekend, no doctors are really there. Yeah. So there was not much that happened. Grandma's my favorite member of the Viridevils family. I thought I was your favorite. Madayo. But yeah, weekend not much happened. We just visited her. Yeah. And on Sunday I woke up early. And I got dressed in a hurry because I was late. I was late. I was very late. So I got dressed in a hurry and I was like, do I look acceptable? Do I look presentable? Yeah, okay. And then I ran outside and I had to walk all the way in the heat. And I made it on time, barely, only to see that no one was there. Literally, almost no one was there. So I just found a seat in an otherwise empty bench. There was literally only, like, in the entire room, there was only like 10 people, and all of them were old people. So I was like, oh yes, me and the old people, let's go. Yeah. And then it was really warm. It was really warm. Cause as I found out, in the US they have AC, but in Germany they don't have AC there. Yeah. I know. And then there was songs, but I didn't know the melodies, so I just kind of, like, you know, when you're like a child in choir and you didn't practice the song, you just kind of and hope that no one will notice. Yeah, that was me. And then I walked back home. Yeah. But my knees. My knees hurt so bad from the kneeling. I don't, because it was like a wooden bench and you're supposed to kneel on it. Like, couldn't they have put like a tiny little cushion on it? Maybe. And I was like struggling, like shaking because it hurt so much. And then I looked at the old people and they were doing it just fine, and I was like, this is humiliating. Why does it hurt me so much, and why are they so fine? Yeah. Everywhere else they do have cushions, well, here not. It was just a wooden bench. It was just a wooden bench. You went to church? Yeah. I went to Sonntagsgottesdienst. Sunday church mass. And there was only me and about 10 old people. Couldn't you ask for a cushion? That would be humiliating. Imagine if I asked for a cushion while all the old people are completely fine. I did get mugged. I got absolutely mugged. Nah. They mugged me very hard. I know. Catholic church is not supposed to be comfy. Yeah, I see that now. Yeah. And I got very nervous because when I came in, everyone had a book. And I was like, oh, I didn't know this was like a... Oh, what book did... Oh, which one? But then I saw that it was just a song book. And they had some like laying around. Yeah. Yeah. I know. Did you sing? Yeah, well, I tried. I tried. I tried. I did not know many of the songs, but I just you know, I did the child in choir thing where I just, you know, or whispered very quietly so I wouldn't disturb the overall atmosphere with my off-key singing. Yeah. I was weighing my options and I was like, well, I don't wanna like belt out the wrong notes, and so I might as well do it quietly. Yeah. And then I went back home and it was so warm. It was so warm, I thought I might die. It was so hot. And my dog, he was also not being chilling because it was a very hot day. It was such a hot day. And he was like laying in the living room and he was trying to stand up, but he had this like such a weird angle that he couldn't get up at all. So I was like, oh, I gotta lift. I gotta lift. And so I struggled to pick him up, and I picked him up and he walked like 2 steps and he laid back down in the exact same position. I was like, no! Why would you do that? And predictably I had to pick him up again. Yeah. No. Well, the decision to go to church, I feel like a lot of the time it's a pretty private topic, but I want to be transparent about it. On the day where my grandma was in the ambulance, and we really weren't sure at all whether she was gonna be okay, because you know, like a stroke, even a small one is like incredibly dangerous, right? It's not a small health event by any means. And so all the time in the ambulance, I was praying that she'd be fine. And all the days after, in the morning and at night when I couldn't sleep, I'd pray that she'd be fine too. And yeah, I said that if she'd be fine, I'd go to church on Sundays every single week. And she turned out fine, so I go to church on Sundays now. Eh. Yeah. Yeah. We visited her again today, and she's doing fine. But they're doing a lot of extra scans, just, you know, like while she is there, might as well do an overall checkup. So, you know, they're like checking for like breast cancer, they're checking like her stomach and stuff. Which, you know, that's pretty normal. That's pretty normal. And maybe she'll be able to come home this week if they don't like find anything. But you know, obviously you'd hope that there isn't anything to find. Yeah. I also thought it was kind of ironic, given my theme, demone. Yeah. And I'm glad she's doing fine, yeah. She was in high spirits today, although she's a little bit, annoyed about having to be in the hospital. She wants to go home. Which is understandable. Because she had a roommate in the hospital room, but the roommate got discharged. And the same thing happened in her other room. Like when she was still in the intensive care room, she had a roommate too, but they got discharged before her. And now she's alone in a room and she's sad. Yeah, she wants to go home. And she says that she misses my dog. And you know, obviously the dog can't go to the hospital. She's missing all her TV shows? No, the hospital room has a TV. If anything, she's watching more TV all day. Nah. But yeah. I know the only thing I still got about like I sleep pretty well now. I sleep pretty well. And I eat fine, obviously. Yesterday my mama insisted on going to a Chinese restaurant and the food made my tummy hurt. I was like, no, not to that restaurant. Their food is not good. And she was like, no, but I want to go. And I was like, last time my tummy hurt. And she's like, no, but we're gonna go. And I was like, oh. Yeah. The only thing I've still got nowadays is that I still startle awake really easily. Like, I guess part of the reason is that I've got my phone like turned on to full volume with notifications. Cause obviously I don't want to miss an important phone call or anything, or like a text from my grandma. Nemo. Yeah, I just startle whenever there's like the slightest sound at night, or sometimes there doesn't even need to be a sound. I just have a nightmare and I wake up. Yeah. I think that'll be like that for a while. I'll also be pretty anxious when she comes back home, cause you know, at least at the hospital, I know that there's like medical personnel there, right? But at home, I'm kind of, I don't know, I think I'd be worried to sleep too much. Because what if something like that happens again, but I don't wake up that time? I'm very worried about that, because like, if I hadn't been there, and if I hadn't woken up at the time that I did, things could have gone very differently. So... yeah, I think I'd be worried about sleeping when she comes back. You could have a caregiver stop by. That might be good. But on the same time, my grandma's pretty headstrong. She wants to do everything herself, and she feels very bad when other people are doing something for her. So I'm worried that she won't accept that. Nah. What if something happens to Heidi if she doesn't sleep though? It's okay. I'm young. Other people are not sleeping because they're going to party every day. But I'm not going to party, so I think I deserve a few years of not sleeping, right? I can do that, right? Yeah. I think I'll be fine. I think I'll be fine. Ne. The other people sleep during the day though. Oh, I also sleep. I also sleep during the during the day. Ne. Also, welcome time. Welcome back, boss. I'm gonna sleep because I'm older than dinosaur dirt. Sleep well. Years I was flirting with the wall after just a week of not sleeping. Well, I wouldn't do no sleeping. I just do like a thing where I set an alarm for every hour while I'm sleeping. Just so I'm not asleep too deeply. Yeah. I don't know. Either way. I'm also worried for when my new university semester is starting up. Because obviously when I'm at uni, I won't be able to be with her and I'm very worried. But also, I don't think my mama would be receptive to me going like, oh mama, I can't be with grandma right now. Please go to grandma. I don't think she'd be receptive to that. Yeah. Well, I'll have to see how my schedule for my next semester looks like. We'll see, we'll see. I don't want to go back to class. Yeah, my grandma's my mama's mother-in-law, but they get along well. It's just like my mama's not gonna like see the reason behind, you know, like hanging out with my grandma every day, you know. Out of everyone in her out of everyone in her family, I'm the only one who's like with her every day. Like my mama will visit multiple times a week. My uncle will visit like probably once every 2 months, but I'm the only one who's there every day. Nah, an emergency pendant, that's a good idea. That is a very good idea, thank you. Hontoni, that is a good idea. Yeah, let me write that down. That is a very good idea. Ne. Cause when we were in hospital, I saw quite a lot of people who didn't get found when they had their stroke. They didn't get found for a very long time and they were in much worse shape than my grandma. Yeah. But it's okay, I'll manage it somehow. I'll manage it somehow. Yeah. I'll manage it okay. I'll manage it okay. Yeah. First, just gotta see her come home from the hospital. That's part 1. Anything else can come after. Yeah. Oh, the smartwatch is also a very good idea. And cameras, that's a good idea. Gonna write everything down. Hi, Eddie. Hello. Your username is very long. I hate the YouTube username system. Aya. Mama. さあ。ちょっと待ってね。お。あの would you do ASMR commissions? I do them on my Patreon, but right now I'm trying to get caught up on everything because I didn't expect I'd be so busy, but I'm working on getting caught up. Today is my first day working on stuff again. Yeah. No. Today is my first day working on stuff. Yeah. Lots of stuff to get done. Yeah. Sorry, I still I still feel a little bit out of how do you call it? Out of it, right? I still feel a little bit out of it. Something about the routine of going to hospital every single day is quite stressful. I don't know, it feels like half my day is already gone every single day. Oh yeah. But it's okay. It's okay. Just something you gotta get past. Ne. Yeah. So, yeah. I'm streaming again this week. I don't know how much I'll be able to do in terms of videos. I'll try to get up on my page, get caught up on my Patreon as much as I can. But yeah. Aside from that, I hope you'll be able to enjoy my streams this week. I'm sorry if sometimes I seem a little tired. I know, or if sometimes I talk about not so fun things, but thank you for being patient with me, and thank you for listening to my stuff. Ne. Also, arigato. Nagi-san, Ari, question, what is your favorite animal besides dogs? Besides dogs. Well, dogs are my favorite, so this makes it hard. Oh. I think falcons are pretty cool. Yeah. Because you can train them. And they land on the little glove. Arigato. Hi. Arigato ne, thank you, Narsep. Eigentlich bin ich nicht wirklich gläubig, aber selbst ich habe für sie gebetet. Ich bin wirklich froh, dass alles so gut ausgegangen ist. Du hast fantastisch reagiert. Ich bin stolz auf dich, Heidi. Und willkommen zurück. Dankeschön. Dankeschön. Yeah, I'm glad to be back too. It felt strange to not stream for a week. There were some days where I was like, maybe I should turn on the stream right now, but I wanted to wait until I was in like a completely stable mood. I didn't want to start crying on stream. Hi. Also, arigato, thank you, Six. Hey, I'll even take Heidi yelling at us if it makes her feel any better. I don't usually yell at people. I know. The only thing I would even ever request is she'd consider... The only thing I'd even request she'd consider is resting appropriately. I can't read. Yeah. Need to do some eeping eventually. Yeah, I'll try my best. It's yeah. I hope things can go back to normal soon, even though this gave me a big spook. A very big spook. I like hamsters, but you know, hamsters are hamsters. They're hamsters. They're a little bit unhinged in my opinion. Sometimes they just explode, which I think is weird. Yeah. Also, I think they eat their own children, but don't quote me on that one. Yeah. でも, they do both. Explode and eat their children. Great. Great. Love to hear that. I was right about them. I was right about them. でも, I hope, you will come tomorrow to my Age of Empires, and I'll slowly work myself back to normal life and normal streaming and normal channel. でも, I saw a post one time saying hamsters don't get into Valhalla unless they traumatize the child. Arigato. Good thing I never had a hamster, huh? Good thing I never had a hamster. でも, ありがとう. Thank you, Anima. We're adding more to Patreon, I see. Jokes aside, I remember that we're always willing to listen, either good or bad moments, because they mean a lot to us, and knowing that you and Granny are doing great brings us happiness. Yeah. Today we went to the hospital cafe, and I had a baguette. It was an okay baguette, which is surprising for a hospital cafe. Nemone, thank you very much for coming to see me even though I wasn't there for a week. And I selfishly hope that you'll come to see me tomorrow too. We're playing Age of Empires. 本当にありがとう。Yeah. Also, ありがとう。Thank you, Sitsan. Sitsan, not a falcon. Adi, look in your general tag and my account for a surprise. ちょっと待ってよ。ちょっと待って、ちょっと待って。ちょっと待って、ちょっと。ありがとう。Oh, I got taken to zoo. Let's go. Oh my gosh, El Tigre. El Tigre. And the Rolling Bear Cubs. Yeah, that's fine. Oh my gosh. I like elephants, but I'd be scared to get stepped on by them. 本当に that sounds scary. アメリカや。ハロー、ハロー、ハロー。Why was it? Sorry, I got surprised because why was it only that singular alert? That was deep fried. Why not any of the other ones, only that one? I know. Arigato. Thank you, Narsep. Egal ob gut oder schlecht, wir werden immer zuhören. Wir sind immer bei dir und immer stehen dir bei. Arigato ne. Ich kann nicht lesen. Arigato. Thank you so much. Also, vielen Dank, Six. Thank you so much. Muchas gracias. I'll always try to make time for ID, even if I have to get trapped in an elevator to watch the stream. Go, man. I'll try to stream. I'll try to stream later sometimes, so that you don't have to be in an elevator. 本当にごめんね。I hope the elevator is comfortable. でも、What's What's the green thingy behind? You mean me or my portal? You mean me or my portal? We look quite similar. Arigato. Thank you, Miranai. Happy to see you back. Rest well, Yasumi. Thank you. Oh, also, just a reminder. Next month, I believe we have V-Expo in England. Yeah. And Kawa will be there, so I think V-Dere will be accepting presents as far as I know. Yeah, I think so far from what I currently know, they'll be bundling the presents from Carrier Con and from Offkai and from all the other cons before sending them to us. Which, like, Carrier Con, wasn't that in March? Was that in March or May? It'll be a little bit strange receiving these gifts all these months later. Nemo, yeah, don't be worried about it. Unless Kawa like wrote you that, you know, they're not sure who a gift should go to. They're just like bundling them and keeping them. So far we haven't gotten them yet. I'm not sure whether it's taking longer or shorter than last time. But definitely I'm very excited to get everything. And if you go to Vexpo, you can also bring something. Adi's about to get a whole crate at this rate. I'm just worried about... Last time I got a call from German customs and they were like, yeah, so we're not sure what's in this package. Hello. And I was like, I'm not sure how to explain what's in this package. And so I had to explain to the German customs agent what a convention was. And that I was a streamer. It was a strange phone call. Also, arigato. Thank you, Sexito. Oh, Ari, you better get the scissor lift because my boxes are heavy. Heavy? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Hontoni that heavy? Oh. What? You didn't tell me you were sending 2 blocks of uranium. What? Why didn't you tell me that? Why did you not tell me that? I hope they won't be too heavy, because I think, aside from my mama, I'm the strongest person in the household. There's tungsten? 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 Did you send me a tungsten cube? I can't wait to bludgeon someone with my tungsten cube. If someone bothers me in the train, I'll bludgeon them with my tungsten cube. Please don't fight each other at V-Expo. If you're gonna fight each other, you gotta fight each other in a Tesco parking lot. Yeah. It's a tungsten band, wakata. I'll see. I'll test it out if I can bludgeon someone with that one. Demo, as I said, tomorrow I'm playing Age of Empires 2. Hoping to get better so I can one day keep up with the people who played it for many, many years. That's not gonna happen. But I'll be playing Age of Empires 2 tomorrow regardless. Yeah. And I'll see you tomorrow. Sorry for this short stream. I'm still a little bit frazzled. I'm gonna go to the kitchen, see if I can eat something. Cause I didn't eat aside from what I ate in the hospital today. Yeah. And then I'll try to get some sleep. Just for your sake. Just for you. I guess you convinced me to sleep after all, huh? Well, I'll see you tomorrow. Aristeru. Ba. Ciao. Gute Nacht. Adios. Bye. see you tomorrow, okay? Come tomorrow. When does my stinger mute me? Oh, arigato. Happy 16 months! Nande da yo? Nande da yo? Have all my bonus content been cut off for all these months? Wait, okay, I'm gonna say something. You have to write in chat when I get cut off, alright? Alright? Doe, a deer, a female deer, Ray, a drop of...